Are you a commercial driver that just got an overweight ticket? If so, watch this video. We're going to be talking all about them. All right, here at Driver Defense Team, we do get a lot of CDL drivers that pick up various tickets. It's super important that if you are a CDL driver and you get any sort of traffic violation or even criminal violation, that you hire an attorney that knows CDLs. They're not just like regular driver's licenses. And some people, unfortunately, don't know the ins and outs of CDLs, and then that can have really bad consequences on your MVR, your driving record, all that kind of stuff. So one ticket that a lot of CDL drivers get, obviously, are overweight tickets. There are certain regulations on all different roads, whether it be like an Illinois tollway, a bridge, a side street, Lakeshore Drive, that dictates how heavy a vehicle can be. And if you are a CDL driver, like obviously there's weigh stations that you guys are required to stop at and make sure that you're the appropriate weight. But a police officer can also weigh you when they pull you over. And an overweight ticket is not a moving violation. So it's not going to be like a serious moving conviction for you. It's not going to disqualify your CDL. The biggest thing it's going to do that's going to hurt you is the fines. So the more overweight you are, the heavier the fine or the more expensive that fine is going to be. And sometimes they're egregious, like thousands of dollars, multiple thousands of dollars, that many people that call us are like freaking out, like, I'm never going to be able to pay this much, you know? So one question that we get is, who is responsible for paying this fine? Is it you as the CDL driver, or is it your company? Some CDL drivers do own their own truck, and then like they're subcontracted out for numerous different companies. Other CDL drivers are an employee of a private company. And who's going to be responsible for that fine is really dependent upon who you work for. We have a lot of great clients that have, you know, a logistics company or a construction company that employ many CDLs, and they take really good care of their employees, and they actually pay our attorney's fees and they pay the fines on behalf of the CDL drivers, which is awesome. But not every employer is like that. Legally, the person who is driving the truck is the one responsible. So I do talk to a lot of CDL drivers that it can be a culture within the company to basically like just shut up and drive, you know. Don't worry about that expired registration ticket. Don't worry that your safety certificate is out of date, or don't worry that you're a little, you know, overweight. Just hopefully you don't get in trouble. But it's your responsibility. You're the driver. It's your CDL. You're responsible. So if you do feel like you're working for a company like that, there are really good companies out there that don't treat you that way and don't make you feel like just drive off and, you know, you can deal with it later. You're required to drive legally. So the best thing you can do is, you know, stick your employer to the legal obligations regarding being overweight. Obviously, there's signs everywhere too, right? There's signs that tell you as a commercial driver how much weight you can carry. So obviously don't drive on any bridges or roads or anything like that where you know you're overweight. And then what do we do when you guys call us? Sometimes there are legitimate defenses. For example, that signage that we just talked about. If that signage wasn't there, that could be a defense for you. Another defense could be perhaps the manner in which the officer weighed your truck was not, you know, pursuant to the guidelines and may have affected how the weight came out. Another thing is like perhaps mitigation. So, we have a company that hires us a lot, and he had all the proper paperwork except one permit that you needed for the tollway. But he also had a permit that you need to be on like the interstate. So he thought that that was one and the same. It's not. he learned something that day. He got that permit immediately after the driver called him, and he always tries to conduct his business on the up and up. So in that situation, we wrote a letter and pointed out the different permits and how he came into compliance right away, and he learned something, and asked the prosecutor in this particular situation if they would consider dismissing the overweight ticket because it was basically an honest mistake. And I know it is really hard for, logistics companies or even CDL drivers. There's a million things that you guys have to like know and remember and stuff. But many times the best thing we could do is negotiate with the prosecutor to reduce that fine. Many prosecutors will reduce it 30, 40%. And then you could be given time to pay that fine, or maybe your employer will pay that fine for you. But typically, that's the best thing that an attorney can do for you is reduce those fines. You should 100% hire an attorney to make sure, everything's on the up and up. There's nothing that they could do but reduce the fines and then negotiate with the prosecutor to get you the best reduced fine. You're not going to be able to do that on your own, honestly, without an attorney. So yeah, let's say you're in a situation where you got the overweight ticket, you hired an attorney, it was basically no defense, and you were able to negotiate to reduce the fine by 30 or 40%, and then you're still stuck with a fine. What would happen if you didn't pay that fine? It's going to go into collections, and then that's going to affect your personal credit because, again, you as the driver, you're the one who's responsible for paying the fine. As a CDL driver, this is a non-moving violation. It's already a conviction for you. So if you don't pay the fine, typically what's going to happen is you are going to have an unsatisfied judgment that's going to be sent to collections, and that's going to affect your credit. So it's really not worth it. The best thing you can do is get on a payment plan with the clerk's office and pay it down, even little by little, as much as you can, to show that you are making an honest, good faith try to pay that down. And then if it does end up getting sent to collections, at least it's less than it was. And then you could try and work with the collections company again to just pay as, much as you can, even if it's over a long period of time, so it doesn't affect your personal credit. All right, so the gist for overweight tickets, it's not super serious as far as the impact it's going to have on your MVR, but the fine is really what's going to kill you. So if you have gotten one of these overweight tickets, please call a trusted CDL attorney that can reduce your liability as much as possible.